This video will show you how to replace the coolant reservoir on a Ford Edge. This will be located along the passenger side of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Now we're going to have to drain our engine coolant. For that, we're under the hood. We can see where our coolant reservoir is. We'll carefully turn this counterclockwise to remove the cap. Once you have it dislodged, just a quick inspection will rest it on top. Now we're going to pause in the engine compartment. We're making our way under the driver's side of the engine compartment, all the way along the front where we have our subframe. If you were looking up inside this area, we can see our electronic cooling fan. We're looking just below the driver's side corner of that cooling fan. We have our coolant drain. Now, as far as this drain, you're going to be using a 19 millimeter. You'll find that the fluid makes its way out through this lower circular port. We have our collection receptacle under here, of course. Alright, at this point we can make sure that this is nice and snug. We'll clean any mess from under this corner of the radiator. I'm just going to set that cap aside. Now what we want to do is start removing our coolant hoses from the reservoir itself. Up along the top we have a small hose. Heading down towards the bottom, close to the washer fluid reservoir, there's a larger hose. For each of these hoses, we're going to squeeze on the hose clamp. You can use pliers, you can use hose clamp pliers, whatever's easiest for you. Once you have that squeezed, you should be able to carefully slide that out of place. We're sliding it down the hose here. Continue on to removing the hose from the reservoir. You could give it a gentle twist. If it does not break free, you could use a hose pick. Once you have it dislodged, a quick inspection. We want to make sure it's not dry rotted or cracked in any way. This looks good. I'm setting it aside. We're making our way down to the lower hose next. So as I move down to the lower hose, you can continue on with pliers. As I mentioned before, I'm just using my hose pliers. Keep in mind, there could still be coolant in this area. That hose looks good as well. Now we can start removing our mounting hardware. As you look in between the washer fluid reservoir and our coolant reservoir, you're going to find an 8 millimeter headed mounting bolt. Let's remove that. Now, if you were to move towards the body of the vehicle, you're going to find a second and a third mounting bolt. We can see our 8 millimeter bolt here. We'll take hold of the reservoir. As you look down towards the fender or the body of the vehicle, you can see where it has to lift up and out of. There it is, friend. Prior to installation of any brand new part, let's make sure we clean and inspect the mounting area. Looking along the body of the vehicle, we can see where our mounting bolts would be. We want to make sure those aren't rusted or rotted. This rectangular slot is where that coolant reservoir would slide into. No damage there. And of course, the inboard side of the washer fluid reservoir, we have the mounting point there as well. Now it's time to install the brand new coolant reservoir. As we bring this into position, you're going to find that you have this hooked area. This will slide into the rectangular slot on the body of the vehicle. After that, we can align our mounting bolt ports, start in all 3 of our mounting bolts before tightening any of them. It's time for our mounting bolts. All 3 of these do look the same. You do not need to worry about mixing them up. Next one over here. Now we have the third one in between the washer fluid reservoir and that coolant reservoir. Let's snug them up. Now it's time for our coolant hoses. I'm starting down along the bottom with my larger coolant hose. I'm just going to take this and get it in position along the bottom of the reservoir. We're pressing it all the way up as far as possible, and we'll reinstall our clamp. As far as reinstalling the clamp, we want to have it as close to the original position as possible, and you need to be able to see hose on both sides of the clamp. Okay, I got my clamp up there. Double check to make sure we can see hose on both sides of the clamp and the hose is properly secure. We have our upper hose. Press it on as far as possible. Secure it with the clamp. Just as before, you need to see hose on both sides of the clamp. And it's secure. Now it's time to fill the cooling system. When we fill this, we're going to use the manufacturer specified coolant. You can also use universal. We're going to fill all the way up to the maximum line here. After that, we can start the vehicle. We'll let it run and get up to normal operating temperatures. Once you hear the cooling fans turn on, you're going to want to make sure that you top off that coolant once again. Typically, it will make its way down once the thermostat opens. I'm just going to use a funnel up along the top here. We'll run the vehicle without the coolant cap in position so we do not build up pressure. Now once you've run the vehicle, it's up to normal operating temperatures, the cooling fan's turned on, you want to make sure you turn it off. We're going back over to the coolant reservoir. Typically you're going to find when the cooling system's hot, the coolant level will be a little higher than what it would be when it's cold. Once you're sure that you're full, we'll continue on with our cap. Turn that all the way until it bottoms out. Make sure it's secured in place so you do not have a coolant leak.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.